Today I will be fitting the floor pans to this classic VW Beetle chassis. Then we will give it a paint ready to be built back up. At the age of just 13, I embarked on a daring adventure by buying this classical wreck. The car has remained off the road for nearly 4 decades, 36 years left for dead. Let's get the floor pan set in place. I have already had a look at this one and got it to fit right. So that one's already done. But this one will need a bit of trimming. So we've got the floor pan set in place. As you can see with this one, it fits perfect because I've done a bit of trimming. Whereas on the other side that I haven't touched, there's a big gap and it doesn't sit to. You can see just here where the chassis is. And I think it's just catching down at the front. So let's give it some trimming, do some measurements, then get it welded in. That fits much nicer. There we go. That's the floor pan in. Fits nice. So I'm just going to clean up the edge, get some weld-proof primer on. I'm also going to drill some holes so that I can weld through the holes. And then we should be ready to weld. I'm just going to clean up the edge so we've got bare metal to weld to. Right then, we best get our holes drilled into it. I'm just using this card to evenly space the holes. It's about every 2.5 inches. That's all the holes drilled. The next thing we're going to do is get some weld-proof primer on the floor pan and on the lip to prevent rust when the floor pan's welded. And once we've done that, we'll get straight to welding the floor pans on. This primer's dried now. Let's get the floor pans in place. So my dad's come down to give us an hand. He's going to do the other side while I weld this piece in. Now we've got it mainly tacked in, I'm just going to make sure the measurements are correct. It all looks right. Let's carry on. So I've got this side of the floor pan in now. Unfortunately, the camera stopped recording, so it missed me doing this side. But this side's in nice and solid now as well. So that's the floor pans fitted and the weld sanded down. The next thing I need to do is sand the floor pan so that the paint sticks, and I'm also going to sand the chassis so the paint sticks. So I'm sanding this with 40 grit sandpaper. Right then, let's get this underside cleaned up. This chassis is all cleaned up, ready to paint. All I need to do now is get this rotisserie and get it connected. This fits to the gearbox mounts and this one fits to the front bulkhead. As you can see, it stands and then you can spin the chassis all the way around to paint. We also need to move this 1303 Beetle outside as it isn't ours, so we don't want to get any paint on it. It's just here at the moment as it's got a backfiring issue. On the third cylinder, it's backfiring. This is the 1600 engine. It runs and drives really well, but as soon as the engine's under load, it starts to bog out. Anyway, let's get it started up and pull it out of here. Fitting this jig should be pretty easy with a ramp. I've just got to fit these brackets, then we can get the stand on. There we go. Let's get the ramp lifted up. There we go, that's one side on. Let's get the other side on. Let's get the stand on. There we go. That's it sat properly on here now. As you can see, we can twist it round. We can paint this side of the pan and this side of the pan at the same time. Unfortunately, my dad can't be bothered to come down and give us an hand, so we're going to have to move this ourselves. Just going to have to do it slowly but surely. Right, that'll have to do for now. I think I'm going to paint it here. So all I need to do now is wipe the chassis down, get all the dust off, and then we can undercoat it. Right then, let's get some paint on. That's the chassis painted in undercoat and it looks absolutely perfect. I'll leave this to set for a couple hours, then we'll get the top coat on. Right then, let's get this paint on. I've left this paint to dry overnight and it's come out amazing. Seems really nice and hard. So all we need to do now is get some sealant along the edge. This will prevent water from going in the crack and making it rust. Now I've got the sealant on this side of the floor pan, I'm just going to use my finger to push it into the groove. Right, so that's this side done. Let's twist the chassis a bit and do this one. This tool doesn't seem to be working right, as you can see. It's only working right at the end where it should work all the way up here. So I'm going to see if we've got another one so we can get some more of this out. So I've got another one now, as you can see. It does full strokes. So it's going to make it much easier for this to come out. Right then. Let's squish this down with his finger. And there we go, that's the bottom of the chassis siliconed. So I'm going to do all along the top as well. And there we go, that's the chassis fully cleaned up, painted and sealed. In the next video I think we're going to be sorting out the rear suspension. So if you'd like to give us a like and a subscribe and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.